Hello.
Hello, everyone. All right, let's get started. Good morning. I hope everyone here has been making the most of ClioCon so far.
Welcome to the Payments Power Hour. So before we get started, we have to thank our visionary partners for partnering with us to help deliver this workshop.
My name is Ben Brito, and I have the pleasure of overseeing Clio's burgeoning suite of financial performance products.
And I'm Stevie Nguyen. I'm the product design manager for the financial performance products. That means that my team of product designers and I are responsible for talking to all of you, trying to understand your workflows in billing, payments, and accounting, and then designing how you go about completing those tasks in our features, where that button's placed, what it does, what fields show up where. That's the role of designers. Also with us today are members of Team Clio. These individuals are experts in the payment space. We have the product manager who's responsible for our payments features, Arman, and members of our customer onboarding and sales team, Dan and Dylan. We also have a special guest, Heather Preben, who is also going to be helping out today.
So let's get started. What are we doing here? Our goals for today are pretty simple. Stevie and I are here to assist you in identifying ways to improve your client's payment experience while simultaneously improving your firm's cash flows. Now, I'm sure some of you may be thinking that these, may not appear to be highly correlated. However, our data has shown that what lies at the heart of each of these objectives is your firm's billing and payments workflows. Jack and Joshua started to explore this in their keynotes yesterday, but today we'll use the next hour or so to share some of Stevie and my specific recommendations on how to supercharge your use of Clio's suite of billing and payments features. Stevie and I will provide a few billing and payments scenarios which delve into the unique lawyer and client interactions, and specifically we're going to double click onto some of Clio's exciting new products and features on the billing side and payment side that we're very excited to roll out to you here today.
So let's start by get a sense of who's in this room with us right now. This is a workshop, and we want the session to be as interactive as possible. This is an opportunity to learn from all of you, as well as to help influence the future direction of our product roadmap. So please, you're going to see a QR code, scan it, and you'll be directed to our polling tool.
Yeah. I think that's something that's really interesting that we hope you can all get out of this experience, is that you're sitting in this room with your peers. And so really you're going to get a sense for how is your firm currently measuring up against those also in the practice of law.
So we're starting off super easy. What is your role? Are you an attorney, a paralegal, an accountant, an office manager? Do you provide non-legal support to the firm, or something else altogether? So throughout this session, we'll touch on opportunities to hopefully make each of your lives a little bit easier and empower you to serve clients no matter what your role is. So a lot of office managers, a lot of paralegals. Up, it's a race.
Yeah, it's a good mix. Okay.
Awesome.
This should be great. So it means we're going to get a lot of different perspectives in terms of, how people have set these up. Let's go to the next poll.
Okay, so we saw a lot of office managers and paralegals. The question now becomes, who is responsible for your firm's billing and payments workflows? So what that optimized billing and payments workflow looks like can be very different depending on the size of your firm, whether you have a really large one or a small one or you're solo. And not just that, but depending upon what those priorities are for the person or that team responsible. Okay, it's a dedicated resource. So it seems like most of you might be coming from larger firms.
Wow.
Really interesting. Okay. And now finally, what does your billing and payment workflow optimize for today? So we're going to be going through a few specific examples, but there's nearly always new ways to optimize your workflow, regardless of that current setup. If after today you're unsure of how this applies to your specific firm's needs, again, we do have those payment specialists here at ClioCon, in the product lab, in the Clio Payments lounge, as well as the Clio Level Up area available to help you. And they'd be more than happy to help. brainstorm some actionable items for you.
Yeah. Interesting to see the distribution here. So obviously a common theme is just, I want to get paid as fast as possible. So we're going to give you some actionable insights and takeaways to help you get started on that today. But I think it's also really interesting to call out here that there are a lot of people saying, I'm optimizing for my current processes, right? I've put these in place months, years ago. They appear to be working, so why change? We're going to double click into some of those reasons in today's presentation. So next question is, how many payment methods do you accept today? We know, again, the results here are going to be skewed by who is in this room, but this also changes by practice area, location, size of firm, how technologically advanced or savvy perhaps someone in the firm can be. So it's going to be really interesting to see where this lands.
And throughout the presentation, the QR code's actually the same. So once you've participated in the poll, you should see that next question pop up, so you don't need to keep scanning the code.
And so as you're thinking about this, count cash, checks, card payments, even more modern payment applications like payment plans, buy now, pay later as individual items. We want to get a real sense of where people are landing.
Wow,
Yeah.
30.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see that, obviously the distribution there, but it's also incredibly exciting to see a number of you have already started to adopt a series of different payment methods. So congrats to those of you who are on the 5+, and let's see if we can't get some of the people on the lower distribution up and to the right. For those of you who have adopted an online payment processor, how did you arrive at the decision to use that specific provider? There are myriad payment solutions on the market today. However, as all of you know, the legal industry does have some pretty unique regulations around client fund management. What you may not be as familiar with is the fact that there are legal-specific payment solutions like Clio Payments, which are designed to ensure that you remain trust compliant at all points in time. So again, subject to when you perhaps set up your online payment provider, there may have been some technological advancements here. There you go, great.
Wow.
So again, your peers are already starting to adopt legal specific providers to ensure that, again, you're remaining in that sort of trust compliant space. If you're one of the 6 who's using a standalone provider, or if you're not currently using an online provider, just keep that question top of mind as we walk through this presentation. And then final question, this is obviously going to be an important one. When was the last time you or someone at your firm sat down and actually reviewed your current billing and payment workflow end to end? Really thoughtfully sat down and reviewed this. Has it been a month? Has it been a year? Longer? Interesting. So again, a real mix in the room, which again, this is to be expected. Great. So Stevie and I know, after speaking with hundreds of firms, that oftentimes this task just can't seem to land above the waterline.
Although for the 17 people in this room, that's fantastic that you're doing it biannually.
Absolutely.
You're ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. But if everything appears to be working and you don't have a sense of where the opportunities to optimize these flows are, then client deadlines or family obligations are naturally going to take priority. And all of a sudden, again, months or years can pass before you stop and take stock. But irrespective of where you just landed on those polls, what is true for everyone in this room is that what is currently accepted as best practice for billing and payments is currently evolving at breakneck speed. To put this in perspective, in 2023 alone, Clio has launched 9 net new billing and payments features. The rate of innovation and value the team is driving is tremendous, but to really maximize the impact of these features and advancements, we need you all to invest the time. So you're all here, you've obviously taken the first step, and so even if you answered rarely or you never have, fortunately, there is no better time in order to kick off this process with the incredible people around you today. If you look on the worksheet in front of you, you'll see a QR code on the back page, I believe it is, and this will allow you to link to one of our payment specialists. So even after we've wrapped this afternoon, hold on to these worksheets, because if you want to get in touch with the Clio team and learn a little bit more about anything that we work through, it's just a click away. But anyways, returning to this concept of best practice, what is currently causing us to reconsider what we define to be best practice. This shift, the increased demands on your firm, is not just a result of technological advancement. What you are seeing is being driven by changes in societal norms, client expectations, and a relentless pursuit by practitioners to gain a competitive advantage over their peers. If we rewind the clock back to the 90s, the legal profession in the US was largely anchored in traditional billing practices. Invoices were predominantly sent out manually and sent via postal mail to clients, and payments were, as a matter of practice, collected weeks, if not months later, and oftentimes through physical check, or the majority of the time through physical check. This method had stood the test of time, and while straightforward, the nature of this manual process was plagued by delays and sometimes even the occasional clerical fumble. This method also provided a subpar client experience, as short of calling or emailing you for a live update, the client had limited visibility as to the goings-on of their matter, but this was the industry norm. Over the past decade, however, the widespread adoptions of smartphones and the internet, even among our older demographics, has meant that both lawyers and clients have become increasingly comfortable with more digital interactions. And we've seen this enhanced familiarity begin to erode the status quo for how financial transactions are being conducted. Clients have begun to expect a more transparent, efficient, and user-friendly interaction across all facets of their lives. The demand for quicker responses, access to information at their convenience, and multiple online payment options when paying for something has become pronounced.
So we'll throw this last point back to the room. What are your firm's current primary method to receive payments from your clients today?
Dave. It's a really interesting mix there. Obviously, seeing the online payments come through, credit cards, but a lot of check as well. Interestingly, not too many of the more modern payment applications are currently hitting the board. We're not seeing buy now, pay later. We're not seeing cryptocurrency. I think that's potentially a good thing.
Credit card's the largest.
Yeah.
Maybe followed up check.
And a couple of providers sneaking through there too.
So we do have a huge variety. It does seem like this audience is definitely on that advanced side.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the first step, really. Mm-hmm. You've taken the first step. So it's now, how can we take you further? How can we help you optimize these processes going forward?
So we do still see those checks up there. And I just want to talk a little bit about that, because we've seen that that's that prevalence of the traditional check payment. So let's talk more around the changes we're seeing there. Checks are tried and tested and still kind of look like that second prevalent method throughout that legal industry. In the US today, however, the Federal Reserve's research found that the use of checks has declined by almost halved in households, from 7.1% in 2015 to 3.6% in 2020. In contrast, that usage of credit cards, debit cards, and now the more modern digital wallet platforms like Apple Pay has surged during the same period. And I will say, I don't think I saw digital wallets or Apple Pay or Google Pay on
it wasn't called out. Although, I mean, Clio Payments has it now. So hopefully we'll start to see that trend grow.
So this is a marked shift in how clients want to pay. 65% of clients now prefer to pay online, with check and cash usage declining as we saw during COVID. That forced adoption of curve during COVID, combined with the more flexible client experiences that online payments provides, accelerated this behavioral change. Years, if not decades. So what is exciting to see is the technology powering these more modern payment methods is now driving step function improvements to the firm's productivity as well.
So yesterday, Jack and Joshua mentioned the concepts of utilization, realization, collection, and collection rates, and we introduced the new concept of lockup. These are all metrics which are showing how well your firm is currently deploying your hours in a day. Through innovations, though, in smart invoicing, autonomous reconciliation, and even automated payment reminders to take away that awkward debt collection call, Law firms are leaning into this technology, and we're really starting to see them reap the benefits. Across the board, we've seen these firms minimizing payment delays while they're simultaneously reducing their manual workload, which ultimately is giving you all back your most valuable resource, time. And really, that's what we're going to double click into here today. How can we help you claim back that missing 6 hours? Even minor improvements to your billing and payments offering can help bring down that 48% of your day that is currently being spent on administrative tasks. In recent years, we've seen these more modern payment systems become even more powerful and intelligent, ushering in productivity enhancements across all of these key metrics. We'll touch on these in more detail in a moment, but what is really exciting to see is how Clio and everyone in this room has been able to leverage these new technologies to lean even further into what it means to be truly client-centric. Again, we're going to go deeper in this during the scenarios we're about to present, but where in the client journey have you all used the new technology or technological advancement to become more client-centric? Give you a moment to populate some responses here. And really, again, this is an opportunity for you to provide feedback to us so we can learn where are the opportunities for us to help you become more client-centric as well. Okay, interesting. So again, great to see the billing and payments workflows are already starting to deliver these improved client experiences. But it's also really promising to see that you're all finding ways throughout that entire client journey to improve that experience and really sort of start to help your clients with this legal experience.
As well as areas like awareness that I think we still have a lot of more opportunities to work in.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that framing and background in mind, with so much change and with so many great features, we do understand that this can be a little bit overwhelming to try and stay on top of everything. So we've taken the opportunity to distill the most impactful features that will help elevate your billing and payment workflows down into this single view. Jack and Joshua have already given you the deep dive into the numbers yesterday. So in this workshop, we're going to keep it simple. And really, we're going to focus on actionable steps that you can put into play today. The key message here that we want you to all leave with, however, is that law firms who are using more of Clio's billing and payments tools are getting more billable hours onto an invoice, and more of those hours are getting paid for by your clients. And these gains are material. This slide, of course, is available in the Legal Trends report. But again, just literally look at those numbers. In our opening keynote, Jack did an amazing job focusing on these 3 features yesterday. So today, we are going to walk through some scenarios that demonstrate how using some of these other billing and payments features can really help further drive impact in your firm. And really, this is where it starts. 1 in 3 professionals, 1 in 3 of you sitting in this room believe that your firm takes too long to send bills to their clients, and nearly half believe that they are not billing in a timely fashion. The potential to do better is already available to you in Clio. It's waiting for you. So let's get started.
So some of you might already be familiar with this tool. This is a framework that product designers use and refer to as journey maps. So journey maps are one of the first UX thinking tools that we learn about in school. It's a way of documenting how a persona or a user works through and uses a product or a service like legal services. We identify and document a person's actions, thoughts, and feelings while using it. And designers ultimately use journey maps as a way of identifying pain points in an experience and look for opportunities to improve or hopefully delight their target audience. So on page 1 of your handout, you'll see this section called Waverly Law Client Journeys. We're going to ask that together we're going to map the journey of our 3 fictional clients, identify moments of friction or potential friction for our clients or for our law firm, and talk about the ways that we could alleviate them. So we encourage you to jot down any insights or ideas that might be interesting or relevant to your firm as well.
So let's meet our fictional law firm and their clients to demonstrate how a law firm can optimize their payment workflows. So meet the team at Waverly Law. They're a small firm of 2 attorneys that specialize in family law based in San Jose, California. Since forming their partnership, Waverly Law has always sought to operate with a client-centric approach, and they pride themselves on making legal services accessible for those in need in their legal community. They want to balance these goals of accessibility and being client-centric with the need to run an efficient firm. They are, after all, a small team.
They recognize that to do so, they need to make some decisions up front about their workflows. This allows them to reduce manual or repetitive tasks in their end-to-end client journey from awareness to retention. Before they can do that, however, they need to agree on what their payments philosophy is. That is, what are their goals? How do they want clients to feel when working with them? And how does that translate to the billing and payments experience? By making these decisions up front, it enables them to set up their operations in a way that results in a win-win for Waverly and its clients. So the second page of your worksheet gives you some questions to begin to explore what your payments philosophy might be. So how has Waverly put their payments philosophy into action? So first and foremost, they understand that their clients value flexibility. So Waverly tries to accommodate those nuances inherent to specific case types. They've identified the most common case types and have built matter templates to tailor to each of those, balancing customization and efficiency during intake. So Waverly goes further and decides to be transparent about their billing and payment options on their website, including flexible payment plans, which aligns to their mission of making legal services more accessible. And then to adapt to that varying complexity and time horizons of potential matters, Waverly sets up variable payment terms depending on the bill or the type of service, and capture this with payment profiles. For that one-time consultation or flat fee services, like notarization of a birth certificate, Waverly asks for payment right away. But for services like wills, they offer clients 30 days to pay after issuing the bill. And then for those clients that require ongoing legal representation, Waverly utilizes 90-day payment terms, allowing clients to pay for fees over the course of several months as the matter progresses to allow the client to better manage their respective legal costs. Now, let's take a look at some of the specific examples of clients and matters that Waverly works with. This is Mark and his son, Asher. So Mark's new to being a dad, and all he wants is to make sure that Asher has everything he needs, even if, knock on wood, anything were to happen to Mark. Talking to some friends that he trusts, they advise him to talk to a legal professional to get a will and a representation agreement set up to make sure that his family is taken care of should anything happen to him. Mark finds Waverly through Google and ultimately decides that he wants to book a consultation to speak to Waverly about his needs. Now, as we established earlier with our payments philosophy, Waverly wants to ensure that their time is spent with clients who truly need their services. So prospective clients are asked to prepay for any consultation. This capability in Clio Grow is possible because of Clio Payments integration with Scheduler. So with just a few clicks of a button, Mark is able to find a time that suits his busy schedule, and Waverly is able to create a cost-effective and highly efficient paid intake for this initial consultation. So following this consultation, Waverly's pleased to take on Mark as a client. His matter is relatively simple, makes it easy to balance against their more bigger matters. However, there's some added complexity because Mark lives outside of the city and sometimes has to travel for work. So to ensure that effective communication and in an attempt to provide Mark with as much flexibility as possible, Waverly sets up a new Clio for Clients portal for him and sends their first message alongside their client agreement. So Mark receives the email from Waverly, takes him directly to the portal where his message and agreement awaits. By keeping all documents and bills in one place, Mark can access Clio for Clients via his desktop or his dedicated phone app. During intake, Waverly also can establish with Mark how he'd like to receive his bills. Mark says he'd like to receive them via email, so Waverly stores this in a custom field labeled Bill Delivery Preferences. This is a simple but effective step because it allows them to cater their entire customer base in a client-centric but highly scalable way during billing week. And though this may only save them a few minutes per invoice, in aggregate, this is an optimization that can save them hours each month, chipping away at that 48% admin time and reclaiming some of those missing 6 hours. And for clients like Mark who opted to receive their statements electronically, those payment buttons are automatically included in bills shared via email. So going from email to reviewing their invoice to making that payment is seamless. He receives a payment confirmation right away, and Waverly can check the status of his payment at any time. Life gets busy though. So Mark can jump into his Clio for Clients portal and review all those past and upcoming invoices in a single view, as well as make payments directly to that bill. There are, of course, clients who want that paper trail of invoices for record-keeping purposes. So for these clients, that recent addition of QR codes on downloaded bills means they can still get their physical invoices alongside the online payment functionality. This means rather than needing to key in bank account information into a bank transfer or issuing and mailing a check, Waverly is transitioning that client from that physical world to a digital one, providing clients flexibility in how they pay.
So let's fast forward a few weeks later. Waverly and Mark have gone back and forth, and the will is drafted and ready to be signed. The appointment is quick, and Mark is pleased with the outcome. With the will signed and witnessed, Mark wants to close out the matter and settle anything that is currently outstanding by paying in full. Without skipping a beat, the team at Waverly quickly pull up their Clio for Law Firm and Lawyers app, open up Mark's bill, and take the full payment then and there with Clio Payments' new tap-to-pay functionality. Gone are the days of needing a separate physical terminal and the hassle associated with those monthly terminal fees and manually keying in card details. Tap-to-pay transactions, like all transactions in the Clio Payments and Billing suite, are processed immediately, fully integrated, and it will automatically kick off your workflows to send off those payment confirmations. Throughout that scenario that we just worked through, Waverly utilized several online payment services to cater to the client's unique needs, and they're ultimately going to see this difference in their operating account. Offering online payments significantly reduces the friction involved in clients paying their legal bills, and law firms using online payments today are seeing those invoices get paid more than twice as fast as firms that don't. And really, this brings us to our first workshop recommendation, which is to embrace Clio for Clients and Clio for Law Firms today. The productivity gains that we're seeing from firms using this technology are truly incredible, and these applications are only getting better. They're free to you, of course, included in the managed subscription, and just a couple clicks away in your chosen app store, so we can't recommend enough for you to lean into these amazing experiences. But now, let's switch over to another client of Waverly's, Tasha. Tasha has been growing a business that she founded nearly 2 decades ago, and she's starting to think about succession planning, so wants to engage with a firm to deliver against this process. She knows this process is going to take some time, and due to some recent unforeseen expenses, Tasha is closely monitoring her cash flow and would feel more comfortable knowing that she had some control over the total cost of this process. So during her initial consultation, she and Waverly have agreed on a matter budget that they would closely monitor and work to. As the matter is opened, Waverly sends Tasha a trust request via email and sets up notifications when certain thresholds for this budget are reached. This allows their team to better plan their work and ensure they stay within budget while ensuring that they're going to meet Tasha's needs. To better manage her expenses, Tasha wants to use the interest-free period her credit card is currently affording her. Waverly adopted Clio Payments years ago and in order to accept credit card payments and e-check payments, but with the growth in popularity of digital wallets, it was an early adopter to allow clients like Tasha to also pay their legal bills when they're on the go. Tasha has her credit card saved in her iPhone, and so she can now easily pay using her preferred card via Apple Pay. Once she receives the trust request notification, Tasha can quickly view the mobile-friendly email, and within just a few familiar clicks, Clio Payments takes over the rest. Let's fast forward a few months, and now Tasha's matter is complete. Waverly has come in under budget and now needs to refund Tasha's remaining funds held in trust. When Waverly was relying on physical checks to process its trust refunds, they had to deal with writing, printing, and mailing those checks, cancelling or reissuing lost checks, and of course, the manual reconciliation task associated with waiting for the funds to actually be withdrawn from the account before you can close off that matter. Now, by using Clio Payments' trust refund functionality, Waverly can easily refund Tasha's money straight back to her credit card, ensuring that the matter is able to be fully closed out in an incredibly timely manner. The simplicity of each of these experiences is so powerful, and we already have a large number of customers using the trust refund functionality, but I have to highlight the digital wallets experience here again. I honestly lost count of how many interactions or amazing conversations I had with all of you yesterday at the Clio Payments Lounge, raving about how important or how amazing you think this experience is going to be for not only your firm, but also for your clients. We must admit, we sort of had an idea this trend was going to be coming though. In North America in 2022, 32% of online payments were actually made with digital wallets, which is now exceeding the 30% that is being made with credit cards. We're seeing this tectonic shift in the way in which people want to actually pay. But what's really exciting to see is that 81% of digital wallet users in the US prefer to pay with digital wallets due to this incredible speed and experience. By removing friction and effort from the payment experience, not only are firms able to facilitate an interaction that clients love, but they are also future-proofing their business as the incredible growth and adoption of this new technology changes the societal norms for how payments are being made. And this brings us to our second recommendation, which is to sign up for Clio Payments while at ClioCon if you have not already. Thousands of other Clions here have already adopted and are benefiting from the seamless billing and payments experience, and we're confident that by taking advantage of some of the features that we walk through today, will have a real impact on your client experience, your firm's productivity, and most importantly, of course, your firm's overall cash flow as well. Now is a great time to set up Clio Payments, as we have some limited time incentives available that those who haven't signed up can take advantage of. So please feel free to visit the Payments Lounge and myself later on this afternoon if you have any questions.
Finally, let's talk about our last client. This is David. And David's matter was a challenging one. So between the challenges of navigating a divorce and traveling for months at a time for work, his alimony case has gone on for a while, despite our best efforts to keep it moving. It's finally concluded, and all parties are as satisfied as they could be. So there will inevitably be some clients who will struggle to pay despite their best efforts and intentions. Life gets busy and invoices can get lost in that inbox shuffle. So these automated bill reminders help Waverly to professionally and efficiently remind clients like David of their current payment obligations, oftentimes bypassing the need to have the team spend the non-billable time chasing them down personally and potentially creating that difficult conversation. For any clients who are a little late in paying Waverly, this functionality is always working behind the scenes to help win back that missing 6 hours. Sometimes, though, Waverly's team needs to supplement this approach. And so for David, it's been 4 months since his bill was due, and despite those automated bill reminders, David still hasn't paid his invoice. Waverly decides it's time to contact David personally, and he acknowledges that his invoice is overdue and unpaid. And recognizing, however, that it's been a challenging situation and he's maybe adjusting to these financial responsibilities, Waverly suggests setting up a payment plan as a way of making his larger bills more manageable. Waverly recommends a biweekly installment of $300 for the payment plan, which David agrees something he can afford. So getting a payment plan started begins with requesting a payment method from David. The request payment link can be copied from his Matters dashboard and then sent in any form of communication, which, as we know, is client portals at Waverly. So once he has saved his payment details, the Waverly team sets up his payment plan as agreed upon. They also set up a small grace period and delay that first installment payment 1 month from today to give David that little bit of extra time before the payment plan starts. So David's future scheduled payments are now automatically routed into Waverly's operating account, and over time, he'll progressively pay down his invoice, resulting in a win-win. His bill reminders are also paused while he's on this payment plan. So based on our research, firms like Waverly who offer payment plans to their clients can increase their revenue nearly 40% on average. So this brings us to our final recommendation, which is to enable automated bill reminders today and to start using payment plans tomorrow. So these features are able to be configured with just a few clicks and manage, and can save you a significant amount of non-billable time that would otherwise be spent chasing those delinquent clients.
So across those 3 examples, we showed you what a few client journeys could look like using all manner of different types of billing and payment setups. We covered optimizations in the journey from awareness for Mark all the way down to retention for David. We spoke about how improvements to the client experience can actually help drive new opportunities for firms to be more efficient. And really, this is the entire reason that Clio Manage exists. It's so that you and every member of your firm can focus your time on the highest areas of impact while making it faster, easier, and simpler to manage those lower impact tasks. Of course, there's not going to be a one-size-fits-all approach here that is suitable for all of you, and you will need to experiment with these different processes to optimize for your firm's specific needs.
So now let's bring it back to your firm. There are some of you who have never reviewed your workflow before, your billing and payments workflow before. We're going to give you some time now to do that, and we've given you a sheet in order to reflect on that. Refer to your client journey page on page 3, and take a few minutes to jot down what you're doing well. What does your current client billing and payment workflow look like? And identify pain points or any opportunities that you think exist for your firm. What feature or functionality have we talked about that could help improve your billing payments workflows further? So we've thrown some examples onto the screen to help kick off this exercise for you. But then the team and I are going to disperse ourselves around the room as you complete your worksheet. As you're thinking through your responses, feel free to ask any of us any questions that you might have.
So I think there'll be effectively be one of us in each of the different corners, and we're going to walk around. So as we're going through, please again, pull us in. Let's have a conversation. We'll probably spend about 10 minutes or thereabouts doing this before we conclude. But let's use this time while it's top of mind in order to think about where in the client journey can you optimize these current billing and payments processes. Alrighty. So we're getting pretty close to time here. So we've got a couple more things we just love to show you or close out on. So if we could get everyone's attention, we'll just let a couple of these conversations quickly finish up. And of course, as well, just to call this out, we'll touch on it in a moment, but I think we'll probably remain in here for a few minutes after the presentation. So if you've got any of those additional questions, please feel free to grab us after this as well. But yeah, so again, we recognize that we've thrown a lot of functionality at you throughout this conference, and of course, during this presentation. Some of these features that we showed are literally already enabled in your application. They're a flick of a switch away, literally from you starting to adopt this technology. Others are going to take a little bit more time, right? They're going to take some optimizations and some changes to your workflows. And depending on if you're a sole practitioner, you might be able to do this today, right? You might be able to start this experimentation process. If you're an office manager, if you're in a larger firm, this might take a little bit longer in order for you to get broader buy-in. That's fine. Start the process. Speaking of the future, just very briefly, artificial intelligence is going to have a profound impact on many facets of the legal industry. And as you saw yesterday, there are so many interesting applications within the billing and payments domain. From answering a simple client question about the amount of money remaining in trust, through to predictive analytics that are going to tell us about the optimal time to send a bill in order to try and get paid. Clio Duo is going to be your tireless assistant, helping you navigate not only Clio, but also helping you run a more efficient firm. I'm incredibly excited to see how Clio Duo can help us redefine how we think about our billing and payments workflows in the coming months. But as we look at this chart, what we do know and what we can see from the get-go is that Clio Duo is going to be even more capable with Clio Payments by its side.
So it can seem overwhelming if you haven't yet considered any of these changes. The good news is that you don't have to think about them or do them all tomorrow to start seeing significant benefits. If you're interested in what the next step for your firm can be, Team Clio is here to help. On your worksheet, as we've mentioned before, we've shared a number of ways to get in touch. If you haven't adopted online payments yet, scan this QR code, and it's also the same one on the back of your worksheet, to book some time with one of those payment specialists after ClioCon. And if you're already using Clio Payments and you want to learn about some of this functionality that we've talked about today, like digital wallets and tap to pay, which are exclusive to Clio Payments, then come see me and the rest of the R&D team at the product lab today, and we'll take you through a hands-on experience.
And so as we wrap, we have one last workshop exercise that is really your opportunity to help craft our billing and payments roadmap. And that is, if there were one financial challenge that Clio could assist you in resolving today, what would it be? We know that while we're making some really exciting inroads with respect to some of the products and the features that we showed today, there are several, countless key challenges that we don't know about yet. And so we want to hear from you so that we can build the things that you need. And so again, just so you can, we wanted to share this data with everyone in the room so that you know that one, you're not alone, but two, to see the direction that legal tech and these billing and payments optimizations are going to be heading. Like, where are these opportunities? It's really interesting. So, great to see a couple of things we already have available to you today, like payment plans, but also really interesting to see, new optionality for firms and customers in things like loans to clients and other financing options. So, can't wait to deliver on that to you in the coming months and years with any luck.
Very seriously, feel free to come up to me or anybody in the product lab and say, yes, I want to talk to you about these things, because we want to build the right product for you.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. And we hope to see you at the Payment Lounge and Product Lab later on this afternoon.
Thank you.